Hello, guys, and welcome back to Author's Corner. Thank you for joining us on this journey and making these episodes possible and come together. I do hope that you are all enjoying listening to A Road to Nowhere. Today's episode is Chapter 5, so just sit back and enjoy. Chapter 5. Josh and Billy were the only ones at home. Josh's suit was crumpled as he sat on top of it on his bed. Billy came into his room without knocking. "Knock much?" Josh mumbled. "You're still sitting there?" Billy asked in surprise. Josh ignored Billy and pretended he didn't hear him. "Leave me alone, man. I got my own problems," he groaned. "Do you even want to go?" Billy asked. Josh just ignored him and turned around and faced the wall. Billy just watched him. "Suit yourself, man." Billy turned and left, leaving Josh lying flat on his suit. He didn't know which university to choose. He walked over towards his desk and went through all the applications in his drawer. He was accepted at a few. He just didn't know which ones to choose. He wanted his parents' opinions, but he didn't even tell them about any of the applications. He decided it best that it wouldn't do him any good if he lingered on about any of it for a while. He took his heavy sweater and left his room. He didn't know exactly where he was going. He just wandered off and lost track. He didn't even know what neighborhood he was even in. Time went by and he didn't seem to care at all. He walked recklessly without keeping track or knowing where he was going. He took out a small brown bag from his bulky sweater and took a short drink from it. He was glad that his parents didn't keep track of anything. He took another drink. This time it was a longer, heavy drink. It tasted so good. To Josh, it was like swimming in freezing cold water in the summer. He quickly shoved the bag back into his heavy sweater when he heard two people behind him talking and laughing, which he thought sounded like teenagers. "What are you doing out here so late?" one of the guys screamed out and asked as he reached Josh. Apparently they weren't teenagers. They both looked older, one of which looked heavy built and the other looked scrawny. "I'm just trying to clear my mind, that's all," Josh explained in little detail. "You sure about that?" The other guy staggered clumsy beside them. "Cut the crap, man," the guy said to the other who was on the other side of Josh. Josh could smell the deep stench of scotch and whiskey on both of the guy's clothes and breaths. "What? I'm just trying to have fun." He looked like he was about to go in a coma. "Will you be fine?" "Yeah, thanks." They both walked off with the other guy still laughing and couldn't stop. "Just trying to have fun. Just trying to have fun, man," kept repeating until the other guy slapped him hard on the back. The guy fell hard on the ground, still conscious. He laughed as he fell hard. "Come on, man, quit fooling around." He helped him up. Just as he got up, he ran. The other guy ran after him. Josh watched them chase after each other until they rounded the corner and lost themselves in the midst. He took out the bag from his sweater and gave it one last swig. He stared at the corner where the two guys left for a while until he got tired. Before he turned around to leave, he thought he saw Sean for a second. He squinted his eyes to see if he saw right. He thought he saw Sean, or a neighbor, with a bloody knife in his hand. He shook his head, knowing that the drink was making him see things. He took one last quick glance and left. Sean stood there still. He watched Josh walk away after a brief hesitation. With a knife in his hand, he licked it clean from the ketchup with a proper towel. He walked back inside to finish making a sandwich. He knew that he wasn't going to be able to sleep anyways. He watched his mom slumped up against the couch and went back to the kitchen. When Josh got home, he still couldn't get that vivid image of Sean holding a bloody knife and smiling. What if it wasn't blood? What if it was something else? Maybe He was smiling because he saw me as a way to say hi? But how could he see that far? Josh shook those thoughts away. He just wanted to go to his room and get some sleep. If only I didn't leave the house, none of that would have ever happened. His mind was ramming with thoughts that he never experienced before. He tried warming up some milk for himself to calm down. He burned his lips and cursed under his breath. Fuck! He skipped the glass and dumped the milk down the sink. He didn't know what else to do. Finally, he decided to go to bed after 10 minutes, which was only making things worse, because he was the only one home and it was dead silent in the house. He wished that he went with Billy, but something made him say no. Upstairs in his room, he tried to relax. In the far distance, he could hear the wail of a siren going off. He heard it pass the neighbor's house and stop. He tried ignoring it and by turning around from the window and tried to sleep. Josh heard the doorbell ring a couple times. He thought that it was just his friends trying to bug him. The doorbell rang again, and this time it got on his nerves. He went downstairs to get rid of who it was that was ringing the doorbell like a lunatic. He opened the door to get rid of them. Look, man, He stopped in mid-sentence. He was shocked to see that it wasn't his friends, it was the cops. We're here because 2 cops were killed. We're going around a couple of the neighborhoods to see if anyone knows. One cop replied, getting right to the situation. And the police glowered and interrupted the silence. No, sorry, I don't know anything. Josh tried ignoring them, but the other guy caught him first. I'm sure you do, because a neighbor told us you were watching them a couple blocks down. What do you want from me? I didn't kill those cops, he shrilled. He wasn't sure if they were talking about the 2 guys that he saw. If they were talking about them at all, he didn't even know that they were cops. He thought that they were a bunch of guys high on something. I'm not saying that None of those neighbors down there don't know who I am, and now you're here to accuse me of something that I didn't even do because of one stupid neighbor? Josh was wide awake now. He was glad that nobody was home and that he was the only one. We're not accusing you. Randy stopped the fight between Josh and the other cop before it got worse and someone got hurt. Then what are you trying to do exactly? Let's just settle this the right way. Why don't the 3 of us go inside before we get bitten by mosquitoes? He finally got some of it settled. When they were inside, Josh made them coffee as Randy had suggested. Josh tried explaining to them both what happened. He excluded his friend out of it. He didn't want Sean to get in trouble for something that he didn't entirely do. One of the cops tried getting everything written down, while the other just stared at him blankly, not sure whether to believe what he was saying. Is there anything else? No. Mind if we look around your house? He gave him permission to look around. The other cop followed with him, still staring at Josh. Josh sat on the couch with his head in his hands as they searched around. He couldn't believe what stupid idiot would put him in a situation like this. He wanted to run right then. Well, there seems to be nothing here. The same guy that was giving him a hard time walked in. He walked up to Josh, who was still sitting on the couch rubbing his head. Listen to me and listen to me clearly. I don't like fights, and I don't intend to get in a fight with you. I want you to understand what I'm telling you. Got it? A nod was all he wanted from him, and a nod was all he got. The cop quickly left outside before anything happened. Josh just sat there quietly, waiting for the other cop to come out. Well, there seems to be nothing here, so you'll be fine. Listen, if anyone says anything or something happens, call me, he replied, lowering his voice as he gave Josh a card. Does that include a cop harassing you when he didn't do anything and blames you for no reason? Josh gasped. Don't worry about it. To tell you the truth, he's still in training, so if anything like that happens with him or anyone else, just give me a call, Randy replied with a smile. Now, why don't you try to forget that all this happened and put it to sleep? You don't want your friends to see you troubled." He gave Josh a pat on the back and left. When he said that, he thought of Sean. He walked towards the window and watched the car leave. He heard the wailing of the siren go off in the night. He thought he saw one of the cops stare at him, blankly, again. Josh just shook his head and backed away from the window and breathed in a sigh of relief. He wasn't sure if he was going to be able to sleep at all. I hope you all enjoyed today's episode. You can leave a comment and let us know what you think. Like and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with each episode. You can follow us on Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can also head on over to our website, communications-inc.org, to subscribe to our mailing list and to stay up to date with live events and our available merchandise with a 10% off any purchase through our Patreon account. We are also accepting donations through our Stripe account. Thank you for joining us today, and stay tuned for our next episode.